Okay, so it's 2-5 as discussed. So what we will do is we'll quickly go ahead and start off. I hoped more people, but nonetheless, I think this will go and get saved and people can still watch it later. So good afternoon, everyone. As you all know, I had promised that I'd come on live today to walk you through the corruption that Telangana government is in a way encouraging and resorting to, encouraging within the private establishments of private hospitals, and how they are encouraging that. And I'll give you very specifics about it. So to give you a quick background, I think in this country we have a lot of different kinds of hospitals that have come up over the last 30 plus years. Say for example, earlier there was only two kinds of hospitals. One was a nursing home, a maternity hospital, and there was another, what's called a conventional hospital, in which all kinds of treatments would happen. However, over the past 2 decades, the country has gone through a lot of changes, and today we have a lot of different kinds of clinical establishments. That's a term we use, by law. What kind of clinical establishments are different? There are diagnostic centers that also come under the purview of clinical establishments. There are hair clinics, there are hair related hospitals, there are eye related specific hospitals, there are dental related specific hospitals, skin related special hospitals, and so on, right? So there are different categories of hospitals for which the old laws of this country, which used to be a state, which is a state plus a health subject, a central subject, which is called a concurrent list, concurrent subject. Okay. Now, old laws do not really uh, uh, help or meet with the requirements of the latest changes that the country has gone through, or latest kind of services that the hospitals today have come up to, in the name of serving the people. Now, to counter or to meet these requirements, the central government in 2010 drafted a new law called Clinical Establishments Act of 2010. Okay, that's about 10 years from today. Okay, back in the day. And now it's such a beautiful act which addresses a lot of problems that we as citizens are going through today. And establishes a lot of other things, which I will, in very specific, point to point, brief all the citizens. So I hope you understood what all hospitals that we are going to talk about. Everything, clinical establishments, individual doctor clinics. That clinics are usually open during the evening hours. Those are also something that they come under the under this particular law. Individual clinics or diagnostic centers where we give our blood and get the x-rays done sometimes, or blood reports, or sometimes CT scans or other things. All other kind of hospitals also. And the beauty of this particular law that we're talking about is Clinical Establishments Act 2010, is that it is applicable to the government establishments also, as well as private establishments also. Which means back in the day there were only laws as to how private hospitals would be say overlooked, given rules to abide by, what kind of regulations and rules they will follow, what kind of penalties they will face if in case they do not abide by the basic minimum requirements of the hospitals. So now the beauty of this law is this was this also has a jurisdiction, or it is applicable to government hospitals as well as private hospitals, to all the states that adopt this particular law, which was passed in the Parliament of India and given assent by the President of India on the 28th of February 2012. Okay, be very focused. 20 minutes max, and I think I'll open up for people, if in case they have any questions, they can put it in the chat comments. Okay, so this law was passed let's say notified by the President of India on 28th of February 2012, which precisely means it's been almost 8.5 years that this law has come up. And multiple times the health ministry of central government of India has written to a lot of states saying this particular law must be adopted by the states, because there was a lot of states which had their own laws also, And as I said, this health as a subject is a concurrent list subject, which means both center and state will have to work together to ensure that this particular subject is managed. So a lot of times the chief secretary of central health department has written to the state heads, state chief secretaries, requesting them to ensure that this particular law is adopted by the states through a resolution passed in the assembly of the respective states. Now comes the what is corruption in this, Vijay? How is it that this can be a corruption? So here's the beauty of this. Okay, now if you guys remembered back in 2017 and back in 2016, there was a small kid that suffered from dengue and got admitted in a hospital in Delhi, and the parent was given around 54 lakhs of bill for about 20 days. Okay, and unfortunately, that kid did not survive the dengue, and she succumbed to the injuries. Sorry, she succumbed to the disease, and she is not with or amongst us anymore. Now, there was a lot of hue and cry that happened around this. A lot of national media covered this news, and as to how private hospitals are resorting to cheap and B grade ways of billing the patients or the patients attenders for a 25 paisa worth element, charging 200 rupees. Similarly, for a 10 rupees or a 6 rupees syringe, charging 500 rupees. For gloves, charging 2,500 rupees, and things like that. And recently we all experienced as to how PPE kits, which maximum charge 400 rupees, were uh, charged up to 8,000 to 9,000 rupees also by a lot of hospitals in Hyderabad. So what happened is, after multiple requests made by the ministry, central government, health ministry, the Telangana government somehow, under the pressure, was able to pass a resolution in the Telangana State Assembly on the 25th of March 2015, and adopted this law called the Clinical Establishments Act of 2012. Uh, Clinical Establishments Act is actually called as 2010. The assent came in 2012. So this is a law called Clinical Establishments Act of 2010. Now, this particular law was adopted by Telangana state government, as I said, on the 25th of March 2017. Now, very, very categorically, I'll tell you guys in bullet points as to what are the goodness of this particular, what all good things that this particular law brings forth for, holding accountable everybody within the clinical establishments being run in the state, irrespective of it being run by government or it being run by private individuals or societies or association of people and so on. Okay. Now, to start with, number one, this law is particularly, as I already said, is applicable for all kinds of clinical establishments, that is private hospitals, government hospitals, diagnostic centers, or all special care oriented hospitals, which is, as I said, eye hospital, hair clinics, dental clinics, skincare specialties, including the diagnostic centers, which earlier did not have any kind of laws applicable to them. So they are within the purview of this particular beautiful law. Now, second and the most important point that this law also brings is, the laws are ideally made to ensure that people do not misuse the freedom that they have in a democracy. And law also gives power to the governments to what's called regulating the uh, freedom, which could lead to exploitation of people on the paying side of any kind of service as such. Which means this particular law, under clinical establishments rule number 9, very specifically I'm quoting it, gives power to the government, that is central government, who can go ahead and regulate and fix charges that can be collected for any kind of services or uh, you know uh, 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 services, or any kind of charges that can be collected for any kind of say, how much can a doctor's fee can be, how much can a bed charge can be, how much can a CT scan be, an X-ray be, an MRI be, depending on the hospital type. Excuse me, depending on the hospital type, and so on and so forth. So that's the most beautiful freedom, sorry, not freedom, but a responsibility that the government has today come itself into a position where it has now legally power to regulate the charges collected by the hospitals for any and all kind of services that they provide. That is the most important element which helps all of us as citizens, in a society or particularly in the state. And 14, 15 states which have adopted this law so far, and there are 10 to 15 plus more states and UTs which are still uh, or which are yet to adopt this particular law. Now comes the fourth point. Whenever there are clinical establishments, the hospital head, if in case is not managing this particular hospital or a clinical establishment according to the rules and regulations made by this particular law, he can directly be held accountable for it, including the jail term, which is again a most important clause which was not earlier applicable to any hospital establishments as such, including government hospitals, as I said. Which means today, if you see as to why government hospitals do not have the facilities that we need, is because even if the hospital head, who will be a superintendent of a government hospital, even if he tries his best and writes multiple times to the government asking for funds, because end of the day, to run hospitals we need a lot of money, okay, a lot of money. And governments or ministers, sort of, all these nishani guys, as we call them in our state, they do not release funds to the government or the government hospitals, which in turn creates a lot of scarcity with regards to how facilities can be made available for citizens who come to these government hospitals. As simple as no stretchers, housekeeping facilities are not available. The kind of dirty environment that is there. The hospital doctors, for that matter, continuously for decades together in our country, we keep seeing that they keep going on strikes because there are no basic facilities, like gloves, PPE kits, glucose is not available, or saline packs are not enough in stock. And the worst part is that the doctors are also in a position where they are having to spend money from their own pockets to ensure that ICU of these particular government hospitals are also managed from their own pockets. So all of these, factors which have so far gone without being answered, without being somebody being held accountable, is something that comes into the foray of this particular law. And the hospital head, whoever in the hell he is, he will be held accountable for the implementation of this particular law. Now, the beauty of this, again, fifth point, when I bring all of you up to speed with, is that this law comes up, and the National Council of Clinical Establishments is a council that was supposed to be established under this particular law, which is already established. Now, under this law, the National Council, as I just told you about, is supposed to be making rules and regulations and minimum standards of treatment, minimum number of people needed to run a hospital, and the categories of hospitals they will define, basis which every private hospital will be given the registration. Which means today we all see that there are 2 rooms, 4 beds, 1 doctor, and they put up a board calling themselves super specialty hospital, multi specialty hospital, Tokka hospital, Tolu hospital, and all that nonsense, right? Now this law puts all of that to an end. If in case you want to be called as a, there are 4 different types of hospitals that the law has defined: level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. Level 1 is a basic hospital where there are no specialty treatments given as such. I'll touch upon these 4 types very briefly, not in detail, okay? Level 1 is a very basic hospital where you get maybe a physician, and some beds, under 20 beds and things like that. Level 2 will be where you have 1 or 2 specialists also reporting there. Say, for example, a physician plus a orthopedician or a gynecologist and things like that, which will also be called as a specialty hospitals. Now, level number 3 will also is a hospital where you will have minimum 4 to 5 different kinds of specialists working there, and there are a lot of regulations and a lot of standards, including number of people required to run such hospital from a staff standpoint, which is at the most important clause in the law, because We see, as we Indians know, no matter where we go, the first thing that we always experience is the shortage of people. So you cannot now, level number 3 hospital will be called as a super specialty hospital if in case they are meeting the requirements, including the number of people that are supposed to be available, plus the number of equipments that are supposed to be available, plus a lot of other rules that are supposed to be followed. Otherwise the head of the hospital will be held accountable. Okay. Now level number 4 hospital is called a teaching hospital, which, as you know, let's say for example a Gandhi hospital, or Osmania hospital, where the college, MBBS students go ahead and learn and join as students, and and so on. So those are the 4 different kinds of hospitals that we have. Now this law also brings in the clauses like anybody who's working in a hospital which is not registered knowingly will be paying penalties up to 15 to 20,000 to 25,000 rupees. So it doesn't matter which doctor, which kind of staff. If in case you were aware that the hospital was operating illegally, even you as an individual will pay penalty for something like that. Okay. Now comes the most important question. In fact, before that, I'll cover some more points. Like the law also says that the rates that the hospitals collect for every charge that they take is supposed to be in public domain. It's supposed to be in the most visible place in the hospital premises. And the hospital, the penalty for running a hospital, the first penalty for running the hospital without registration is up to 50,000. Second penalty is up to 2 lakhs, and third penalty is up to 5 lakh rupees. And similarly, as I said, anybody working in a hospital which is not registered obviously faces 25,000 rupees penalty as well. And now comes the clause which affects you and me at large commonly, and as we all experienced a lot of it during the last 7 months, where we have been under lockdown, and some families went to the hospitals and they were told that there are no beds that they have, and so on. We all knew it was a lie, because they were trying to avoid patients who have insurance, and they were encouraging only liquid cash transactions, right? Now this particular law comes with a beautiful clause which mandates every type of hospital, private, government, or otherwise, doesn't matter. Every kind of hospital must have the facilities to be able to treat any emergency patient that comes in and stabilize that particular patient, irrespective of admission or otherwise. If they do not have such facilities, they will not also be given any kind of license, or they do not really get registered as a hospital, which obviously means that it is a mandatory clause. Now, the law does not say you must be treated forever. The law says that the patient must be stabilized if in case he comes in with an emergency. And when we say stabilize, you already mean you obviously should understand that the life-threatening situation should be eliminated from the scenario that the patient has come to hospital with. It could be an accident and there's a lot of bleeding, or that's an emergency. Similarly, met with an accident, there's a broken bone, or bone coming out of the stemming out of the body, that must be put back in place, which potentially could cause a permanent disability to the patient. All these factors are called as emergencies, and the hospital should have the facilities that must be proved to the registering authority, after which only will they be given a permission to run the hospital. Now, if then in case after you get registered, and obviously you avoid taking people in during emergencies, as has been our experience in the last 7 months in Hyderabad hospitals or Telangana at large. Earlier there was no specific law which binded the hospitals to resort to rejecting patients in emergency. Today they can be held accountable, and there's up to minimum first offense, there's up to 50,000 rupees penalties, and going up to 2 lakh rupees as well, and maybe 5 lakhs or jail term also, depending on the frequency of such crimes by the hospital managements. And now what has happened is, Now comes the corruption part of it. Now that I gave you a good brief about what the laws are, what all clauses we have, what all problems that people have that this particular law solves for us, is now when the law was adopted by the Telangana government in 2017, March 25th, ladies and gentlemen, it's been almost 3.5 years. Even till today, the central government health ministry is also unaware of the fact that the Telangana government had passed a resolution in the assembly of Telangana and adopted this law. Because when I filed an RTI with the central health ministry asking them why, please confirm if Telangana government has adopted this law, they gave it in writing stating that they are not aware if Telangana government has accepted this law in the assembly. Okay, that's a shocker. Now, if our government somehow under the pressure of media, of central government ministry, adopted this law, why is it that even today, this particular law has not been implemented across, the districts and the state? It's a question that the government must answer. Uh, this particular law says that there has to be a state council for clinical establishments, which has not been notified till date. It's been 3.5 years. There has to be a district registering authority, which will have a lot of people as a part of the committee who will sign off or who will approve a hospital as getting the registration, and obviously oversee if the hospital is equipped with all the machinery, staff, number of people, the kind of hospital it is, super specialty, multi specialty, and Palana and Dimkana, and so on, and also that people will have a platform to go ahead and complain. Today we have a platform where ideally we do not have a platform to make a complaint officially. We have a stupid WhatsApp number that's been put in place for people, where you don't even get to see if somebody is working on it or not. I filed more than 3 complaints on that stupid WhatsApp number that we have. I'm sorry, pardon my language, but I think that's the most less offensive word that I can use against this medical department of, or health department of Telangana. And nobody seems to be really interested in serving the people. Now, this law very categorically makes all of these irresponsible bureaucrats, hospital managements, private or government or otherwise, including the ministry or the chief secretary for that matter, who in spite of multiple requests from the superintendents of the government hospitals, does not release the funds. Now, coming back to the moot question, how does this help encourage corruption is, now the private hospital managements, the relatives of a lot of famous hospitals that we have today, right, in the state, they could have possibly, I'm speculating it, for whatever reasons best known to the government, they have not implemented any of the provisions of the law in spite of it being 3.5 years since it's adopted the law. Now, how does it affect you and me is, when we go to government hospitals, obviously, as I said, the government hospitals are systematically being deprived of any facilities. They don't get the money, they don't get the facilities, they don't get the equipments, they don't get the basic requirements or basic amenities to run the hospital, to attend to the emergencies. I know I have visited Usmania General Hospital almost 3 years back when I was doing all this, and I met with a lot of junior doctors who walked me through the ICU where there was water leaking from ICU, people hitting the board, the equipment which shows us the heartbeat, the BP, and things like that, for it to make to show some values. And this is, now why is it that the government does not equip all these government hospitals, is because that if you and I know we are not really comfortable to go to any government hospitals in this city or state for the kind of dirty facilities that we get, but for the kind of dirty toilets we get to see, which is the most embarrassing situation you'd like to be in, or it's extremely disgusting to step into these hospitals. And and they encourage, in a way, us to go to the private hospitals by ensuring that the government hospitals are not up to the mark to serve you and me. Now, if that's not the case, they have to say as to what else is. There are no basic ambulances are also not there in this enough ambulances are not there, and private party political parties claim that they are donating ambulances and all, while the same political party which has a responsibility to ensure that they are releasing funds and equipping hospitals with 10 to 15 or 20 ambulances per hospital, government hospital, they have failed at doing so, and all they are doing is resorting to this cheap B grade and ridiculous publicity stunts by donating one or two ambulances to people at large and say we have done our job. No, your responsibility is to ensure that the government hospitals are equipped with all possible facilities, including minimum 10 to 15 ambulances with well trained people. The law that I'm talking about, Clinical Establishments Act 2010, comes with a lot of accountability factor. That has been baked into this particular law, holds people accountable of the institution's head, and we will have a platform to make complaints and get resolutions, and people for each specific violation, that is running a hospital without registration, running a hospitals with by claiming that they are super specialty but not having the facilities, refusing to take emergency patients in and treating them and stabilizing them, and then let the patient decide if they want to stay in the same hospital to go to other hospital. uh, for all these factors, there are laws today which has not been implemented by this irresponsible bureaucrats of Telangana. We have 163 IAS officers, and I don't think 90% of also. I mean, it won't be an overstatement to say that even 90% of them are not doing their job today, except for playing along the politicians, which is ridiculous on their part. And the most important element of all of this is the fact that this particular law and the rules gives the power to the state government, sorry, to the central government, to work with the state governments in their with their in a consultation process, and regulate the prices of all kinds of charges that they collect for all kinds of services and all kinds of treatments that they provide, including for diagnostic centers, where I remember my own experience when I took my mom to one of the private hospitals, that is Apollo in Jubilee Hills, uh, cheap ones. I mean, the hospital doctor wrote about 5 different tests to be done. And when I went to the diagnostic center within the hospital, they gave me a quote of 23,000 rupees for this particular tests. Okay, I think 23,000 approximately. And I said, okay, give me 2 minutes. Let me come back and pay for it if in case I'm interested. And I made a couple of phone calls to outside hospital diagnostic centers, like a lot of them that we know, right? And the quote I got was 6,000 rupees. Okay, so that's about 4 to 5 times of charges the hospitals in-house diagnostic centers are collecting. Similarly, the CT scans, the MRIs, the bed charges, and the doctor charges, and a lot of other charges that they are calling today consumables, which is your PPE kits and the gloves and so on. There is no head or tail to what these private hospitals are doing, and what these irresponsible governments are doing, just by other than just sleeping over it. So these are a lot of problems that we have, and this is how Telangana government is encouraging, in spite of there being categorical laws to hold people accountable if the emergency treatment needed patients are refused. And I know there are hundreds of hospitals within Hyderabad city itself. I know I have a list of them who are operating illegally without any kind of facilities being available, including the law says that there must be a sign off from the municipality department as well, for obvious reasons. And we know there are matchbox kind of hospitals within 2 rooms, 3 rooms. There is a hospital and there is a board calling themselves multi-speciality. Now, what have we done to address this problem is what I will take the remaining 10 minutes to tell you guys about. Now, after it took about 3.5, almost 2 years to understand that this particular law was accepted by the by the state government, but it was never made official. Even the media is unaware of this particular law being in public, rather being adopted by Telangana government. But again, it's adopted, so it's a law, but nobody knows that it's official or not. Hence, it took about 2 years plus for us to do the research. And after doing all the homework, after sending legal representations to the government back in November itself of 2019, we moved high court, and I was obviously short on money, so I wanted to do what's called a party in person representation to represent our own case rather in the high court, and filing happened during February 2020. Unfortunately, right after that, this pandemic hit all the global countries, and we went into lockdown. And now, very recently, when the courts opened up sometime in June, they were accepting only emergency cases. And our case did not really seem emergency to them, so they soaked it for good 3-4 months, and then I had to save some money and hire a lawyer by then. And finally, we were able to get through to the court. And on 1st of October 2020, which is about 10 days from today, the High Court took cognizance of this particular case, and has already issued notices to the Telangana government as to why State Council for Clinical Establishments has not been established, why district registering authority has not been established yet in all the districts of the state, why a law that has been accepted almost 3.5 years back was not implemented. And we have also ensured that central government is also party to this case to make sure the central government comes back with regulations of or the prices that the maximum the hospitals can collect for any of the charges that they are looting us with, because they are feeling that they have the freedom. And I know one of the famous hospitals in Malakpet, which deserves to be shut down with the way that they are illegally built, with the way they are abusing the freedom, with the way they have no parking space, which was a mandatory element to have, and Malakpet residents suffering a lot. End of the day, this particular hospital is definitely not meeting the basic requirements as per the law to run a hospital. And when I say basic amenity, is not just about availability of doctors on the machines. It's about parking space, because people don't come flying to the hospitals, right? They come by vehicles, and then charging you the amount as and when, as much as they feel like, which is not how a society democratically operating, will continue to have. So I'm glad High Court's taken cognizance of this. 4 weeks time was provided to the government, irresponsible bureaucrats and these Nishani leaders, at large. After 4 weeks, we will definitely bring this back to the notice of the High Court and see that district registering authority is established as soon as we can. And similarly, respondent number 3 is central government, like I said, whom we are going to ask as to how soon they are going to come up with the charges that will apply for any kind of service or treatment provided to us, including all types of hospitals and all types of diagnostic centers also, because they seem to have no head or tail to what they are doing today. And they take thousands for CT scan, while it's supposed to be maybe 1 or 2 or 3,000. Each hospital has their own rate. Yeah, so that's entirely about how cheap Telangana government has been, and how in a more disrespectful manner and in a more cunning manner this particular government is being run, and how we do not have a basic website with the details of who our district medical officer is to whom we can make a complaint, and we don't know if the complaint WhatsApp number that's put up for us, which is the most stupid facility that they could have thought of, instead of making changes to the website they have and putting up a grievance option there, let people track their complaints and let the hold the officials accountable for it under the civil services rules if in case they're not doing their job. All such things will come to an end in the coming days. And the law also says once the law has been adopted by any state, within maximum 6 months, all the hospitals within the state, irrespective of the kind of level they belong to, they must adhere or come in alignment with the laws of Clinical Establishment Act, the rules, the minimum standards that they have notified, and the minimum number of personnel that are supposed to be there, and the minimum requirements also to be brought in line with the law. And the most important factor is the regulation of charges, because we all know how we are suffering, right? And yeah, those are the issues we have, people. And uh, that's something that I wanted to put in public domain, and wanted everybody to be aware as to how cheap this government of Telangana, run under uh, you know uh, the Nishanis, is operating. If there anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take. Otherwise, you can be assured by March this year, coming year, I'm sorry, we will have a lot of improvements happening in within the medical facilities of the state, including government or private. And as I quoted this on the first, when we had the court take cognizance of this, 1st of October, I mean, we are going to, I specifically, having seen the ground realities and the problems faced by the doctors, the junior doctors in the teaching hospitals, or doctors at large, including private establishments, I know uh, uh, they are struggling a lot. I dedicate this very specifically to all the doctors out there, especially the Junior Doctors Association, who are under immense pressure with almost zero facilities, and managing still serving the people at large, because they came into this profession with that passion to serve, and doing their best that they could. And I dedicate this to them. And as I promised, we will ensure that this particular law and all the provisions of it are followed to the T by every hospital, and I assure every private hospital out there that from the moment the High Court gives a direction for establishment of State Council for Clinical Establishments and district registering authorities are established, maximum 6 months after that, I promise all those illegal hospitals that I will take every legal step possible under the sun to hold you accountable, and I will ensure that you are going to jail if in case there is anybody uh, who has been suffering because of your illegal hospitals being in the presence or existence of people. So beware, fall in line, go and read the laws, read the minimum standards, read the rules, read the regulations, and ensure that you are not resorting to any kind of illegal act, because we will ensure that you are held accountable. I understand you may have a lot of relatives in politics fraternity. I would like to see who will come to save you, but be rest assured that in case you are running an illegal hospital, I will hold you accountable for it for every single day that it is in existence. And that's where I end. Thank you. If there are any questions, I'm happy I got this opportunity to put this in public domain. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take. So I'll take. There's a person called Home YouTube Brother. In one of your meetings a year back, you told you're thinking of a plan to expose Chetta Mafia who charge 100 rupees or more. Yes, Home YouTube. Thank you so much. I have written confirmation from GHMC. As I said, this year was a little different. This was a subject that I was supposed to pick up in August this year, but a lot of things got backdated. Sorry, post dated. Legally, the GHMC guys are supposed to take only 50 rupees per household, uh, but they're taking 100 rupees or so on top of it from every house in the building, which is not right. But again, it's not an emergency or a priority subject for me now. So maybe I will take this up in the next year and not this year. I'll be very honest to you about that. Thank you. Do you really believe that all doctors employed by the government are putting in their best efforts to serve the people? Ujwal, Anurag, uh, I never said all of them are. There in every fraternity, in your private establishments, also in my own company, your own company, or any fraternity, NGOs, government establishments, police, ACBs, CBIs, every fraternity will have some bad people coming in there. Uh, but I am believing that almost 80 to 90% of the people are still good in every fraternity. Is just that they're scared or they're unaware as to how to handle these issues. So I think, yeah, I think majority of them are good and serving people. Uh, educations like schools and colleges. Venkata Durga Sudhakar, I think I will do that in the coming days. A session on schools very specifically, because around the 30th of October or so, there will be something that will be happening in Supreme Court with regards to school education. I'll keep you guys posted about it after it's done. Thank you. Could you please let us know? So, Anil Kumar Baddipuri, could you please let us know what happened to your efforts on streaming judicial procedures and how you are planning to go ahead? Fabulous. Anil, fabulous question. The filing is done in Supreme Court. It's matter of hours or days, worst case, before the Chief Justice of India, and we will hear something very positive. I'm hopeful of it with regards to that. Thank you. But do you have a blog or something which can help us? For example, complain. So Bharat Raj Arutla, I request you to please file a Hawkeye complaint. Trust me, it'll go a long way. We recently, I mean, day before yesterday itself, we had a an order from High Court which clearly already directed the GHMC commissioner and the EVDM to ensure that action is taken for illegal parking charges. So I'm hoping they will start working towards it. बट कंप्लेन अगर उन्होंने एक्शन नहीं लिया तो भी ठीक है, लेकिन कंप्लेन करके छोड़ दो. कल को अपने को ये कॉन्फिडेंस रहता कि मैं कंप्लेंट करा, अपना काम एज अ सिटीजन वी डिड इट. अब बाकी का काम ड्यूटी वाले कर रहे या नहीं कर रहे, वो अपने को एटलीस्ट कॉन्फिडेंस रहता. अगर करे तो आपको अच्छा भी लगेगा, और नहीं करे तो आपको मालूम ही पड़ेगा कि आपका खाली सोच नहीं था, फैक्ट भी है करके. तो दोनों भी आप के फायदे में चलेंगे. सो प्लीज फाइल अ हॉकआई कंप्लेन. थैंक यू. Police having weekends. Thank you. On the police case follow up, all the parties, 90% of them have submitted their response to the court. Now it's our version to our responsibility to submit our view on the response filed by 32 different people, 32 different state governments plus central government, who have submitted their view on this particular issue. So I think in November or so we will file our counter, because 32 स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स का जो रिस्पांस था वो सब पढ़ के वापस हमको सबमिट करना है. तो थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, नवंबर एंड तक हमारा काम हो जाएगा. सो आई एम होपिंग एनी टाइम बाय मार्च नेक्स्ट ईयर, my friend, we should have a judgment coming in. Thank you. Create awareness on laws to public, like what to do when collecting parking charges. Sai Shesha Sai, everybody seems to be busy in our country, but nothing seems to be in its place. I think that's the biggest problem. Spare 5 to 10 minutes when you see a crime, even if you're with your family or otherwise. Don't worry, things as they happen in movie do not really happen. Call 100, they will come. You have seen in one of my own videos where I called 100, and they came and they took the culprits to the police station, and they gave it to them nicely. So don't be scared. Call 100, let them come, and then have an argument as to why the guy is collecting parking charges. Nobody is going to touch you physically. Trust me on that. Please try. Vijay, is there any progress in the IT employees? Oh, lovely. Shiva, thanks for that question too. It was dated for 8th of October, like about 4 days back from today. Unfortunately, the number of cases were so many before us that we did not get the opportunity to have the judge take a look at our case again. So we have requested for another date. We'll let you know what next Tariq is going to be. Thank you. Was it really accident or a malicious one? No idea. Home YouTube, my friend. I'm hoping it's a normal coincidental accident that has happened. I am still chair bound and doing what I can sitting at home. It's been difficult, but thank you for following up. I hope it was not malicious one. I am hoping, but again, investigations will say. Police is doing their best to find the guys. Thank you. We can be part of your fight. Please respond on broker system in sub-registrar and RTA offices and a lot of corruption. For next year, JBK, I have picked up too many things this year, and I don't want to just pick up things and not close them. So once I finish a few of them, then I'll start picking up this particular subject that you just spoke of. Thank you. Thank you, Sri Harsha. All the best. Vijay, Sahiti, Raja, thank you. Mins Hospital, they are still charging for a parking. Please file a Hawkeye complaint. Download a Hawkeye application. I'm sure you all have a PUBG or a food app or a lot of other apps as well, please download Hawkeye, HAWK, which is a police related app. Similarly, a GHMC app, My GHMC. If you check in your iOS or Play Store, you'll find it. Be more responsible. Irresponsible citizens do not get responsible governments. Download. When you see a problem, complain and let it be. You never know if somebody is going to really solve it or not, but you never know. Similarly, if it gets solved, you'll be so happy to see and feel proud about that change that has happened. Take that step. It will be okay. Nobody's going to come to your house and do that violation or violence as we are used to seeing in our stupid movies in this country. Okay, a lot of faith in police of Telangana. Not a lot, Ujjwal. If there's anybody who's troubled me in my activism, he is the police. Not faith and all. Too big a statement to make. But I'm a believer of just because they are not doing their job doesn't mean they should not have their rights. I'm a believer of rights. I'm a believer of democracy. I'm a believer of upholding the law. You and I have the laws. Similarly, it should be applicable to them as well. I don't care if they're not doing their job well, which I'm pretty sure they are not. But I think they deserve to be treated with discipline, to be treated with respect and with honor. And as human beings, they deserve leaves. They deserve week offs. They deserve social life, and they deserve rest. They are not machines. Even for God's sake, we rest our vehicles, our machines. I think police deserves the same. I don't think I have so much faith in them. In 5 years, the amount of trouble I've gone through because of police system in itself is too high, especially the Hyderabad police. But as I said, they're doing bad, we doing bad in return doesn't really solve the problem. We have to solve the problem. So hence I'm doing what I'm doing. Thank you. Praveen, thank you for asking. I think it'll take about minimum 6 to 8 weeks for me to be able to walk without crutches. Right now I'm on a bed rest, advised to walk as little as possible and stay home. So yeah, mid-November, I should be able to walk. Thank you. Enforcing parking charges. Yeah, man, that's the next. Enforcing parking charges will be next. Venkata Durga Sudhakar Potula. My promise. Did any police anytime spoke rude to you and want to stay out of activism? I don't think they want to do that. Home YouTube. They know. I'm not some Humpty Dumpty guy coming to police station and they can tell me that in their face. I'll ask them to give it to me in writing. What else? I think I'll take 1 more minute max and then hey, Sai has joined. I hope he was already on and never asked a question. Yes, Sai, tell me, my friend, what's up? At the max, I'll take 1 more minute, guys, and then I would like to wrap up and get on with something I want to finish today. But if shops are closing, clocking more than MRP charges on like cold drinks? Very good question. First, Sesha Sai, ensure you are taking a video of it. And there is an email address, which I think I will give you in a jiffy. Give me a moment. That you can complain to. Drop an email either with a bill or with the videograph. And they will definitely get back to you with an action taken report. The legal metrology department of Hyderabad or Telangana at large are like I don't know, seasonal people. Seasonal department is what I feel. Once in 2 months, these guys are all over the news, and then they are completely invisible for the next 10 months. It's a pointless department is what I feel. But again, as I'm advocating, I'll tell you the same thing as I do as well. You do your bit by complaining. Will there be an action or not? Leave it to God. Okay. Legal metrology email. I've just put it in the chat group, guys. Leverage this to make a complaint, and after wait for 20 days or so and follow up for requesting action taken report as to what action has been taken on a complaint you filed. What else? We stayed silent when those kids got mowed down by the train in early morning in KCS constituency. None of those kids were. Yeah, for obvious reasons, Sri Harsha, as I said, if I go to Yashoda or any other private hospital, there's a lot of money I'll have to pay. And I'm presuming most probably we know if the entire bill, there is a cut that goes to somebody else or not. There is what's called party funds and things like that. So we have to fix all these things. We will. Mutton is 700 days. I don't think that's a discussion. 700 rupees per kg. Not something I want to discuss here, Srinivas. Uh, there's already a fixed price on mutton. There's nothing on chicken. I agree with you. How is your pill different from police reforms report of Soli Sorabji committee? Lovely. So, Subram, a very pertinent question. Soli Sorabji committee's report made recommendations. Okay. Now, when the word itself is called recommendations, which means kind of suggestion, governments will choose to ignore it as always, because I don't think any state government or Indian Home Ministry at large is interested in letting human beings be treated as human beings within the police fraternity. That's why I think the kind of treatment that the police department has today uh, is going to continue unless we fix this. But when Supreme Court says, "Why have you not done it? You have to do it," it becomes a law, and they have to implement it. So that's the difference between recommendation versus Supreme Court order. Thank you. Tackled. Pratik Ji. Well, as long as we elect irresponsible people, that is how it's going to be. Get better during the next election. That is all I can say for now. Okay. Any other questions with regards to hospitals? Remember, we have the most irresponsible, ridiculous, and not an overstatement to call it a stupid government, which is hurting people with their inaction, which is systematically breaking down the entire public uh, service sector, and seeping in a lot of corruption into it by bringing in their B grade service levels people who do not serve us but serve them. We'll have to get better. We'll have to get responsible, and we'll have to ensure that we are addressing this. Math tricks. 2% charges on card is illegal. Call 100. We all have to take the responsibility of spending 5 minutes when we see crime. Call 100. There will be huge difference in the society if we change. Our silence is their strength. Call 100. 2% 2% charge on debit card is illegal. Thank you. They do that because they do not want to pay taxes, so they want liquid cash. That is the traders Dedu Shari. Call 100. Sridhar Madela, go for it. Support you. JBK 1489. Not on my mind today. God knows about the future. Next is Sridhar Madela. Next is on education. Yes, I will take a 30-minute session on schools and how parents can tackle it, because I hope the millennial generation parents will be more responsible than the previous generation guys who have given us this broken, corrupt system with their silence and with their fear. We have to be better than them, and we will not be able to enjoy the perks, or the outcome of our hard work. But what will happen is, with our voicing out the concerns, the next generation will receive a better future. That is what we have to work for. I don't think we are happy with what we see in our society, right? Let's not give our kids the same nonsensical society. So start complaining. That is how it starts. Criticizing on social media is not enough. Logically, anything gets solved only if you filed a complaint. Maybe that's what departments are waiting for. You never know. Okay.